Hi there. I'm recording this on August 20th, 2025, and that means two things. Due to my general inability to keep track of milestones, this is the 51st Darkness News update, and I want to thank everyone who made that happen, including our sponsors at the Soft Lights Foundations, the National Association of Innovative Lighting Distributors, who have really helped me make this a full-featured series and helped me build the Darkness Restoration 1 program, which will educate lighting practitioners in how to engage in conservation practices. That program will be available in the fall, but until then, let's get into the news. The KTH Royal Institute of Technology has determined that safety is a feeling. This is part of a survey of different lighting conditions at metro stations, and they found that brightness was more important to the sense of security than color. They're trying to measure just a baseline of whether the minimum they can offer for the visually impaired at night, while also still just feeling generally welcoming while you're in a metro station. And they found a really specific formula that helped them figure out just the color temperature and brightness they needed to offer late at night that served as many people as possible. In Poland, they have determined that pedestrian safety is about balancing both vertical and horizontal illuminance. They tested lighting fixtures at a number of different heights, and they found that you actually need to mount the entire fixture just a bit lower and try to angle it so that it covers a wider area so that the entire crosswalk, as well as the areas to the sides, are covered in order to reduce fatalities when involved with drivers. Pedestrianized lighting otherwise is actually good overall. This is a series of studies of walkability design interventions and found that if you bring, again, part of this, bringing street lighting lower to serve pedestrian needs, led to more people walking and more people being healthy. A federal judge has paused the expansion of the Florida ice concentration camp for 2 weeks. This is pending a National Environmental Protection Act review. Detainees will just end up at a different Florida prison for now. But there we go. That's just an update from Florida. We have a survey that says that it is hard to sleep in ICUs. Lighting is an issue. Pain is an issue. Not surprised, but also just staff moving around. They're all factors for how to sleep in an ICU. We also have an Italian study showing that sleep rehab is actually linked with cardiac rehab. So people recovering from heart failure need personal sleep interventions, like maybe an ICU with fewer people walking around and fewer lights on. Circadian lighting does reduce falls in hospitals. This is a 5-month study in a rehab ward in the Akashi Ninju Hospital using not a sponsor, but interesting company, Yamato Shadowless Lamp Company products. And they found that timed tuning and dimming helped older patients not only recover from whatever they were staying in the hospital for, but also they didn't fall down so much. Falling down is a big problem for old people in hospitals. I should know my grandmother doesn't have a hip anymore. Young adults are more anxious and more depressed as they get pushed off their chronotype. This is a large-scale study of Chinese undergrad students, and they tracked both their reported feelings and reported sleep quality, as well as the number of naps they took. And they found that there was just a complex network of emotional and sleep interactions that emerged. And what we really need is just more support for sleep. Circadian rhythms are established in infancy. This is a study from Kumamoto University that has found that while the beginnings of circadian rhythmicity start to form in the second and third trimesters of pregnancy, the real lifelong ones, those come about in the first year out of the womb. Bird vocalizations change with light at night. This is a study from Central Europe covering 35 diurnal species, and they observed that More light led to more songs, especially when predators were present, which is interesting. Tiger mosquitoes are more active overall because of light pollution. This is a trap study in St. Louis, Missouri, and they found that light and heat are extending the seasonal activity cycles of tiger mosquitoes, which could also lead to West Nile virus spreading, by the way. Allen is harming the mating habits of glowworms, even in conditions that allow for part-night streetlight scheduling. Allen is also changing Medaka courtship rituals. These Japanese rice fish are known to begin mating at night and finish their business in the morning. And if you change the lighting conditions at night, that pushes them to doing it later. And it's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. We also have a study that shows that blind cavefish, fish with no functioning eyes, who are not expected to see light, are harmed by light at the DNA level. What's interesting is that the DNA damage recovers when they return to darkness, specifically if that darkness does not include any UV light. This might cure cancer, guys. Maybe. Long-term goal there. That's just an interesting fact for now. Speaking of interesting facts, the Audubon Society has begun their fall migration awareness campaign with a new pledge and new petition for, of course, individuals to change their lighting habits, and a new petition to encourage city and municipal figures to change their lighting habits overall. Turtle hatching season has begun on the Anna Maria Island of Florida, with local conservationists and volunteers running around beaches, filling holes, kicking over sandcastles, and checking out lighting on the beach so that no turtles get disoriented. Speaking of disorientation and Florida, hatching season has begun in Naples, Florida, and we're already starting to spot turtles going the wrong way. In Florida, Fort Myers Beach projects are including turtle-safe lighting advocacy once again as the hatching starts. Foster City, California, has begun lighting interventions to counter Canada gooses. That's right, they will be turning on lights at night to bother Canada gooses.
What? What? What?
What?
I never been so irate in my whole f***ing life.
Canada gooses are majestics, barrel-chested, the envies of all ornithologies.
They are leaders, born and bred leaders.
I think we all need to take a good look in the mirror and ask ourselves where we would be without Canada gooses.
We cannot allow this to happen.
We will not allow this to happen.
And if you have a problem with Canada gooses, then you got a problem with me. And I suggest you let that one marinate. Norfolk, Virginia has paused their switch to LED streetlights over complaints. They got about 9,000 fixtures into a 30,000 lamp project, and they're gonna pause. Complaints about bright blue-rich light led the utility into stopping and looking into offering alternatives. They'll be probably redoing the residential areas of Norfolk with dimmer shielded fixtures now. So you can fight City Hall. You can fight the utilities. Ain't that something? Teton, Wyoming is officially confirmed as a Dark Sky International community, with accolades being officially presented to city officials. On the Banks Peninsula of New Zealand, they are tremendously in favor of seeking Dark Sky Reserve status. So 85% of people in the public surveyed are in favor of going dark. The region, this is a peninsula on the South Island near Christchurch, is already home to a number of nature reserves and heritage parks, so this just fits in, synergistic. They're probably in favor of that. In Jefferson City, Missouri, they're ready to go dark sky, but they're not sure how to shop for fixtures. They have a draft ordinance based on the Dark Sky International and Jim Benya model ordinance, but their public works guys just don't know how to shop for the right fixtures, especially when it comes to parks and pathway lighting. They don't know what to look for. Dark Sky International's shopping list isn't that helpful, and they're going to have an even harder time for enforcing this for new construction and renovations, because that's going to depend on commercial level stuff. Big box stores, they don't have the good stuff. Man, it would be great if there was some sort of training program for lighting professionals that could solve that. It would be really great. It'd be really great that if we could solve that problem. Man, Nailed is ready to solve that problem this fall. We're gonna have a great time. In New York City, Chinatown residents are pushing back on a jail expansion. This is a pre-trial detainment facility that would be huge and actually kind of suck to live near. Just gonna say that they're right to push back on this one. In Clarksville City, Tennessee, there is a call to actually start enforcing bylaws related to digital signage. In theory, electronic messaging boards are forbidden, but no one's been passing out fines, and it would be good if that happened. Over in the UK, specifically in Bristol, nobody likes the lighting at a Gloucester County Cricket Club, and they want to extend their lighting even further to allow for more night play. In Castle Point in Essex, they are going to be bringing back full night street lighting after 11 years. In 2014, the twin engines of nonsense that were Brexit and the Russian invasion of Crimea and the subsequent sanctions on fuel and energy from Russia led to a number of towns in the UK cutting their street lighting to save money on energy. And now that's dropping. Residents of Castle Point, Essex have said that they would like full night street lighting back after all these years because of crime. If there was only some sort of data from like Sussex about how crime rates don't change under street lighting, if only there was some sort of data from Sussex, nearby Sussex, that proved that their concerns were entirely faulty. Oh wait, there is. I don't think anyone gets to complain about streetlights being off at 2 a.m. unless you're regularly up at 2 a.m. Can that be a rule? Can that just be a rule? Anyway, back to California. In Conway, California, a couple that runs an Airbnb is suing the Special Lighting District of Kearsarge, who somehow have authority over short-term rentals. I don't know, guys. Maybe we should just have. Maybe we should decide lighting bylaws in a sensible fashion. Maybe we should do that. Americans say they have small governments, but what they actually have is 7 layers of government that can claim any amount of authority at any time. And that can feel small, but from the outside it seems entirely chaotic, at least to me. Maybe you shouldn't just be allowed to have a special district for street lighting because you want to pay less to the utility and then also get to fight short-term rentals alongside that. I don't know. I'm just a crazy Canadian who believes in responsible government and order. And what's the third thing Canadians like? Magic beavers. That's the third thing. Magical beavers. On the sports desk, Northern Arizona University's sports teams have begun a new tradition. They're going to change their name and their jerseys for 6 games to honor their dark sky status and their participation in astronomy. Northern Arizona University is in Flagstaff, home of the observatory that discovered Pluto. And 4 teams, specifically their soccer team, their volleyball team, and both the men's and women's basketball team, will be playing 6 games each under the name Astrojax. They will also be in new colors. There's some fetching shades of blue and gold there. Their mascot, which is some sort of bull, has a little spacesuit on now. It's very cute. It's very darling. This is a tribute to where they are, and also a chance to sell new merch. And you know what? I honor that. I honor the chance to sell new merch. I might buy one of those soccer jerseys if I can. In rural Canada, astrotourism is up. Remote communities are working to raise their image and score some money from campers by offering distinct experiences with astrotourism. So there's money in what we do too. SpaceX is pledging to pay for rehabs to a Texas beach. The South Padre Island is going to have a number of new things. They're going to fill in some pathways. They're going to revamp the barbecue pits and change rooms and all that. But also, they are going to include environmentally safe lighting. This will be the first time an Elon Musk-owned entity actually installs lighting that doesn't contribute to light pollution. So there we go. Low orbit objects remain bad for radio telescopes. This is a report from the Square Kilometer Array, an array of radio telescopes that take up a square kilometer, and they have found that current existing Starlink satellites are leaking radio waves in a way that damages their ability to do their jobs. Meanwhile, low orbit objects from AST will also be creating radio pollution, but AST's constellations want to start using the 430 megahertz band, which is the one ham radio operators use. And you know what, podcaster? I gotta respect ham radio operators. We are kindred folk. We are kindred folk in amateur audio content. And it is at this point that I feel like I should go into like my ongoing rant about low orbit objects and how they're going to ruin everything. But I've done that 3 times this fiscal year. So I'm going to do an entirely new rant. I haven't had a time to do this. I have not had an opportunity to do this. So I'm going to do an entirely new, different rant right now. And that rant is... all right, so this new rant starts with the fact that I work for Nailed, and part of my work for Nailed is that I rewrote and re-narrated the section of LS1 that had to deal with how light interacts with the eye directly. And then for LS1, I also worked on a section, a series of modules about lighting for elder care, whether that's aging in place or senior centers. And the fact of the matter is that as you get older, as we all get older, our eyes just aren't as good. They get harder, they get denser, and they don't receive light at the same rate. You need more light as you are older, just to see, never mind to activate your circadian neurons. But, and so we have the baby boomers, the largest cohort of the population, entering the point of their lives where they need more vision support. They need more light to function. And this just happens to coincide with the LED revolution. We have the ability to offer more light cheaply, easily, and safely. One of the stories I heard about LS Evolve is that sometimes senior homes would burn down just because they needed so many halogen lights. And so we have this interesting, very interesting phenomena where light pollution, which often we blame streetlights, but light pollution is spreading because people actually do need it. And you know, it can be easy. We can have a scapegoat, right? We can just blame the boomers. But I don't blame them. They say time is the fire in which we burn. And that's true. Like, we're all going to need something as we get older. It might not be more light per se. It might be more escalators. It might be any number of adaptations for elderliness. But, you know, there's also this countervailing thing that, like, okay, we have all this brightness now, and we maybe need all this brightness now for this population we have. But once they're all gone, they've all shuffled off to wherever it is they go in the great beyond. It'll be done, right? Like all the boomers will go away, and we can fix this. But the younger generation, if TikTok is to be believed, does not want single sources of light in their homes. They're used to having cheap, available layers of ambient light and decorative light. And they're going to get old too, right? They're going to get old too. What happens to the Gen Zers who have rejected the big light, having 6 lamps on at all times, suddenly needing those 6 lamps to all be 20, 30, 40% brighter? What happens when they need to drive after dark? I think we can't just wait for this problem to solve itself. We have to keep working. And I think that's the work we're doing, right? And that's why I'm here. That's why you're listening, I hope. And, you know, again, time is the fire in which we learn as well. Maybe we can share some things with each other. Maybe we can find some new solutions. That is the end of the rant. Dark Sky International. This is the last story. We have left the rant and we are into the last story. Dark Sky International has named the winners of the Capture the Dark photo contests. They did this in 13 categories. I want to say congratulations to everyone that even submitted. More than 2,000 people did. I think the work that got selected or got selected as a winner or named as a runner-up, they're all fantastic. And if you're on the video version, we're just going to let them all run in a slideshow right now. If you're on the audio, you're just going to hear an extended version of the end song. But I want to thank you for your time, your attention, your patience, your interest. I also want to thank Nailed and the Soft Lights Foundation and the Lighting and Darkness Foundation. I will be back in 2 weeks. Until then, take care of yourself.